You're listening to the Mastering Money in Midlife podcast with Debbie Sasson, episode 80.
Welcome to Mastering Money in Midlife, a podcast for midlife women in business to overcome financial anxiety and make more money without burning out or sacrificing their families. Join certified life and money coach Debbie Sasson as she shares practical business strategies and mindset shifts that help you dissolve the money blocks that keep you stuck in a cycle of under-earning and under-saving, sabotage the growth of your business, and prevent you from building the wealth that you desire.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the podcast. I cannot believe that I just said that this is episode 80. It was just under 2 years ago when I really started to believe that my podcast was going to be a thing, but I had a lot of fears about launching a podcast, doing something new, and now it's something that I do every week, and sometimes I even batch record my podcasts ahead of time. And here we are at episode 80. But once upon a time, one episode, 10, 20, 50 episodes was mind-boggling. Now 80 means we are nearly at 100, which is pretty crazy to my mind. I also want to let you know that there are changes coming to the podcast. They will be hitting your ears in June, hitting your favorite podcast platform in June. So stick around. And if you want to make sure that you get all the updates, make sure that you sign up to my newsletter, debbiesasson.com/newsletter, so you will hear from me directly what's happening. And of course, if you are subscribed, you will also get your weekly notification about the podcast and be informed of all the changes that are coming down the pike. So welcome to you for joining me today. Today, we're going to be talking about sometimes I don't have time, and that's okay. I was thinking about maybe calling it the myth of work-life balance, but I decided to be okay with not having time. I have spoken before on the podcast about how to be more productive. I've spoken about a wonderful tool called a time audit. And you know what? There are also times in our life when we don't have time to show up in our business. Yesterday was one of those days for me. Today's Tuesday. You know, if you've been sticking around for a while, that I record my podcast on Tuesdays. Yesterday was Monday. It is the day that I have a lot of coaching calls. I meet twice with my group coaching program, Wired for Wealth. One call is in the morning time, my time in Israel, and one is in the afternoon, my time in Israel. And I have other coaching calls scheduled throughout the day. But yesterday morning, my daughter let me know that she was very likely to be in labor. She did have a full active labor. She gave birth to a baby boy late yesterday afternoon, early evening, and I was blessed to be with her at the birth. I am the doula for my daughters when they give birth, and I am so blessed that I get to have that role and to join them and have this beautiful women's bonding experience, mother-daughter bonding experience, and being there to provide labor support for my daughters. And you know what? Sometimes I don't have time to be in my business, and that is okay. But my daughter let me know early on that it looked like something was happening, and I was debating with myself, should I show up for my call in the morning and then I can delay the one in the afternoon? And I was really thinking maybe yes, maybe no. And then I decided that it's okay for me not to have the time to be in my business and to be 100% focused on my daughter, even if she didn't need me at 11 o'clock in the morning. But it wasn't fair to my daughter and it wasn't fair to my clients if my attention was being distracted, because if I was showing up on my coaching call, I would always be looking out for a message from my daughter that she was going to, that she was going to need me or something was happening. So I quickly sent out an email to all of my clients letting them know that I needed to reschedule or cancel and I wasn't going to be available. And my message for you today is that if you are like me, a woman running a business, a woman with a home, and even a man with a home and running a business, it is okay not to have time all the time for our business. we have this myth in our minds that we can have work-life balance. Really, your business is part of your life. I said to my followers on LinkedIn today, it's not like my heart stops beating when I'm in my business. Like, my business is part of my life. It's not like I'm either living or not living or being in my business. As I've said before, your business is here to support your life. Your life isn't here to support your business. And we have to make sure that we are merging the two. Of course, you do have to be introspective and make sure that you're not using your life as an excuse for not showing up in your business. And I was speaking with one of my clients today because I delayed my Wired for Wealth call from Monday to Tuesday. Her daughter is engaged, and there's a lot of activity around the engagement and the upcoming wedding and the plans and everything. And there was a time where she was in her business and she was giving herself the message that because she wasn't doing any advertising, any media, anything to bring new clients in her business, that there was something not right going on, that she was behind, that her business was dying, that things were getting away from her. But really, she was showing up for her clients and she was serving them. And your clients are your best ambassadors for your business. When you're showing up and you're giving them amazing service, they will be able to tell other people how wonderful you are and how wonderful it is to work with you. And they'll pass your name around, they'll sing your praises. Show up and take care of your clients. And again, it doesn't mean you have to be on call 24/7 for your clients, because putting boundaries around your time also for your clients is important. And if you don't have time, that is 100% okay. So the question is, how do you know the difference? So like yesterday when I get the call out from my daughter, right? And I could have been, and I really did debate with myself, do I show up? Do I wait? Do I see what's happening? And I decided, no, I'm going to put a boundary in place that when my daughter wants me and I'm on call, right, I can do things. I can answer emails that don't take a lot of time. That's what I was doing. And I was getting some other tasks done. But I wanted to make sure that my first priority, and that's really what it's all about, is how do you prioritize your day? How do you prioritize your family over your business, your clients over other things going on, right? And of course, we want to make sure that we're scheduling in our doctor's appointments and we're taking care of our health. But I decided that my number one priority yesterday was my daughter. So everything else had to play second fiddle to my daughter, which meant that my phone was on. I usually have my notifications off or my phone's not even in my room, but I was prepared to go for her when she needed me at any time. She was the number one priority. And while she didn't need me, then I could be answering emails, doing billing, doing other activities that didn't require 100% focus. When I'm meeting with my clients, that is my first priority, and I'm 100% focused on them. Of course, if there's a fire in my house while I'm meeting with my clients, God forbid, hope it never happens, or if there's someone banging on my door that there's bleeding going on and it's a really, life or death or medical situation, of course I would say, excuse me, I have to go now, and I would take care of the emergency situation. But that's really what it's all about, is it's not that you don't have time for your clients, you don't have time for your business. It is that something else is taking priority in the moment. That when we come back to that work-life balance thing, we are basically sorting out our priorities in that moment. And it can be a 24-hour period of time. It can be the week that you are preparing your daughter for her wedding. And in the Jewish tradition, we have something called Sheva Brachot, the week afterwards, where there is also meals, festive meals for the entire week after the wedding, right? You have to look at your calendar and figure out where your priority is. And when you're not having time for one thing, meaning you're saying no to one thing, you are saying yes to something else. And that comes back to you being introspective and asking yourself every day, even the various hours of the day or the weeks of the month, like, what is my priority now? If I have a dentist appointment during my workday, obviously I'm showing up 100% for myself at the dentist's office, and I don't have time for my client. Can you imagine trying to speak to your client while the dentist has his tools in your mouth? Of course it's not happening. And you don't need to be sending Voxer messages or WhatsApp messages to your clients while you are also lying in the dentist chair. Like, really give yourself the option of doing one thing at a time and doing it well. Multitasking is a lie. We know from math that we learned in school, the shortest distance between 2 points is a line. You want to go a short distance between starting a job and getting it done, go in a straight line. Don't zigzag. Don't try to multitask that you are trying to record your podcast and answer emails at the same time. Of course, I'm not doing that. But these are the kind of tricks that we play. We show up at a webinar, we listen to a webinar, and while we're at the webinar, we're also scrolling social media or we're looking at our emails. We're not paying 100% attention to the webinar, meaning you've invested your time that you're showing up and you're not getting 100% of the information that you could be getting out of it because you are multitasking, and that is taking the long way around to getting things done. So my message for you today, and it's a short podcast because sometimes I don't have time, and that is okay, is to look at your calendar, look at the things you have. If you have to say no to clients today because there's something going on in your personal life that is taking precedence, that is a higher priority, that is 100% okay. You are here building your business for the long term. Last week, we spoke about slow money will make you rich. And when you realize that you're doing this for the long term, there's no impatience. You realize that we live in an abundant world. There is an infinite creator and an unlimited source of money. You trust that your clients who have been divinely contracted to work with you are coming, and they will show up for you in your business at exactly the right time. So if you don't have time today to show up in your business and the only thing you're doing is listening to my podcast, I thank you for showing up. This is Tuesday, just 2 days before the Jewish holiday of Shavuot. And so if you're listening to my podcast while you are making food for the holidays, maybe you're making your cheesecake or your lasagna, I am going to wish you happy holidays. Chag Sameach. And if you're listening to this at another time after the holidays, I hope that you took time out from your busy business life to make time for your family, time for the holidays, and time to enjoy all aspects of life so that you can have a big, full, whole, rich life. All right, my friends, thank you for tuning in today, and I look forward to seeing you next week on the podcast. Bye-bye for now.
Thanks for listening to Mastering Money in Midlife. If you want more information on Debbie Sasson or the resources from the podcast, visit masteringmoneyinmidlife.com.